A brilliant comet streaks across the star-filled night sky, casting its glow above a heavily crowded highway below. A vivid red motorcycle speeds furiously along the road, cutting through the traffic. A young man pilots the motorcycle with intense focus. His jet black hair whips wildly in the wind, unrestrained, since he wears no helmet or any protective riding gear. As he zooms along the congested highway, every traffic light inexplicably turns green. For him, though fortunate, frustration clouds his expression. His anger stems from his inability to wield the extraordinary power he possesses, luck itself. While racing down the highway, he closes his eyes briefly, memories of that morning flooding back to him. A vast crowd has assembled on the grounds of the superhuman school, eagerly witnessing the ongoing entrance examination. On stage stand the top performing students who have succeeded in the written test phase. Today their superpowers will be put to the test. Each candidate has a magical orb positioned before them. Among the distinguished students waiting in anticipation was a young man, eager for his turn to demonstrate his abilities. Within the crowd, a striking girl with black hair enthusiastically cheers on the young man. The host welcomed the participants and outlined the test's rules. Superpowers are classified into 5 tiers: white dust, blue spirit, violet soul, red royal, and sacred black. Only those achieving blue spirit level or higher will be admitted. As the lowest tier, white dust, will not be recruited. As the young man's hand made contact with the ball before him, it radiated a brilliant white glow, revealing him as a bearer of white dust. His eyes widened in stunned disbelief. He then glanced toward the other students. One possessed a violet soul, while the remainder exhibited blue spirits. Behind the black-haired beauty, a blonde young man stood watching attentively amid the crowd's laughter. He mocked Mingy, ridiculing him as one of the rare white dust talents, and belittling how inconspicuous such a power would be. Paralyzed by shock and humiliation, Mingy could only endure as the crowd joined in mockery and laughter. The blonde then sneered further, pointing out Mingy's audacity in confessing his feelings to the school's violet soul beauty. The black-haired beauty gazed upward toward the stage, her eyes filled with deep concern. Mingy's flashback faded as he blinked and opened his eyes. Suddenly, a massive truck bore down on him, mere moments from collision. With swift agility, he dodged both the truck and another vehicle, hurtling toward him, despite narrowly escaping death. Frustration welled within him as he condemned his power as worthless. Moments later, he was seen journeying beyond the city limits. He traveled along a road framed by an enormous thoracic spine skeleton, so colossal it formed an archway overhead. Looking up Ming, he spotted a comet steadily approaching his position. At first glance, it appeared to be a single, massive comet, but upon closer inspection, he realized several smaller comets trail behind. The largest one, Mingy believed, his luck was so extraordinary that he could dodge even a bullet. So the vastness of Earth surely meant a comet couldn't possibly strike him. Just as this confident thought settled in his mind, a brilliant light suddenly illuminated the space behind him. Turning around, Mingy's eyes grew wide as he caught sight of a comet hurtling swiftly toward him from behind. A thunderous rumble followed instantly, leaving no opportunity for Mingy to react or escape. The ground trembled violently as fragments scattered in all directions, and a dense cloud of dust enveloped the impact site where the comet had struck. As the dust settled and debris drifted away Ming, he appeared lying, motionless on the scorched ground, positioned at the very center of the created crater. His body marked the epicenter of the collision, yet remarkably, it remained intact. Without warning, a shimmering bubble, like entity, floated toward him and entered directly into Ming's chest. Suddenly, a game-like interface appeared, displaying Ming's stats, highlighting his extraordinarily high luck attribute, and a system notification explained this luck was safeguarding him from being consumed like a parasitic entity. Before Ming emerged the silhouette of a colossal woman, seemingly embodying the very essence of the system itself. A further system alert warned of an incoming enemy, suggesting that the optimal strategy would be to coexist harmoniously with the host. The system delved into Ming's hippocampus, probing his memories to accurately identify and understand him. After learning that Ming lacked any innate combat skills, the enormous silhouette bestowed powerful abilities upon him. Ming's talent rating surged dramatically, reaching the elite level, known as Royal Red. The silhouette appeared satisfied, concluding that with this newfound power Ming, he was now likely capable of defending himself effectively. Later, at the hospital Ming, he lay motionless on a bed. He was connected to various monitors and a ventilator, sustaining his breathing. The doctor was discussing Ming's condition with a blonde nurse, explaining that although Ming's body was physically unharmed, a severe head injury had induced a prolonged coma. As the blonde nurse assured she would care for Ming, another nurse entered and called out to Dr. Zhao, reporting that Tian Wen's team had delivered a vial of monster blood, requiring his immediate examination. Dr. Zhao and the nurses left the room, leaving Ming alone in the quiet, sterile environment. Several days later, a dark-haired beauty visited Ming, arriving with a vibrant bouquet of flowers in hand. She gazed at the unconscious Ming, concerned, deeply etched across her face. A month passed before a young man with blonde hair arrived with his friends, their eyes mocking as they regarded Ming. They jeered about how Ming's frustration stemmed from his desire to become superhuman and chided him for neglecting his own safety, despite his troubled state of mind. While they continued their taunts, the blonde noticed a pink envelope nestled within the bouquet on Ming's bedside table. His companions discussed the expensive medical bills Ming's sister was tackling by taking on additional work. Ignoring their chatter, the blonde seized the pink envelope and carefully unfolded it to read its contents. His face contorted with fury as he read the message. The black-haired beauty was none other than Lu Kaiyan. It was her letter in response to Ming. His heartfelt confession. Jealousy burned in his eyes. The realization that Ming, he was a disabled superhuman, uncertain, even to himself, if he'd ever regain consciousness, filled the blonde with bitter contempt. As he stared at him, out of pure rage, he tore the letter into countless pieces. Right then and there, a full year slipped by in silence. Suddenly, a monstrous creature, resembling a giant cockroach, crawled out of a manhole, its immense size shattering the surrounding concrete. As it emerged, the hospital's public address system buzzed, abruptly announcing the sudden appearance of numerous mutant monsters in Nanchung and urgently instructing all staff to evacuate immediately. Dr. Zhao and several hospital employees were taken aback. Nurses and patients quickly moved toward the exits, yet the blonde nurse, tending to Ming, he ran Determinately, in the opposite direction, Dr. Zhao noticed the nurse's unexpected action, and his concern deepened just as he prepared to follow her. The building trembled violently, and his colleagues urged him to evacuate. Without delay, the blonde nurse was consumed by worry for the unconscious student she cared for. Rushing down the corridors, she resolved that even if he never regained consciousness, abandoning him was not an option. As she hastened toward Ming He's room, a sinister silhouette, clawed and dripping with saliva, hung menacingly from the ceiling. Just behind her, with urgency, she flung open the door to Ming's room. Seeking refuge within, she caught sight of his grimacing face, twisted in apparent pain. Without hesitation, she darted towards him, gripped his hand firmly, and tried to lift him off the bed. Suddenly, something else seized her attention. In a window's reflection, she spotted a gigantic cockroach looming just behind her. Paralyzed with fear, she remained frozen as the creature grabbed hold of her. The monster began to lick her face, seemingly savoring her presence with unsettling delight. Suddenly the hand she was holding twitched, then swung back and struck the creature, leaving her eyes wide with astonishment. The force of the punch was so intense, it radiated like a shock wave. Sitting now on his bed, Ming fixed a fierce glare forward as a smoky aura swirled ominously around his clenched fists. Beneath the glimmering night sky, swarms of cockroach monsters crawled relentlessly up the hospital's outer walls. Suddenly a section of the upper wall erupted violently, as if something had forcefully burst through. Looking inside, a gaping hole pierced through 3 layers of walls, revealing the night sky. Beyond, Ming stood facing the breach, fists tightly clenched. Before him knelt a blonde nurse, shielding her head with desperate hands, while behind her lay a cockroach monster, its upper half obliterated. The mangled remains of the creature collapsed to the floor. With a heavy, echoing thud, Ming spoke gently to the blonde nurse, assuring her that the monster was now lifeless. He extended his hand toward her in a reassuring gesture. Then he asked if she was able to stand. Ming expressed his gratitude to the blonde nurse, Miss Song, for caring for him so diligently, and in return, Miss Song thanked him for saving her life, and gently asked when he had regained consciousness. Ming avoided responding directly and quickly shifted the conversation by asking if he was still in Nanchong Hospital, wondering why so many monstrous creatures were present. Miss Song explained that the higher-ups, authorities, had alerted them about a contaminated fluid leaking into the city's sewer system, which had infected local parasites and triggered their mutation. Curious about others' fates, Ming inquired about the condition of the other hospital staff and nearby residents. Miss Song replied that most had likely evacuated to safer locations, but since Ming had been unconscious, she feared for his safety. Her sentence trailed off abruptly as a terrifying vision of Ming being devoured by monsters flashed vividly in her mind. Ming smiled reassuringly, telling Miss Song that she had never abandoned him during the ordeal. Miss Song humbly replied that she was merely fulfilling her duty before asking incredulously how Ming, still a student, managed to defeat the mutant with a single punch. Ming reflected internally that a year of rigorous training had prepared him, yet he chose not to divulge details. Instead, he deflected her question, urging that they should leave immediately and join the others in a safe location. The commotion from their earlier battle had drawn even more monsters, now swarming the hallway in overwhelming numbers. Using the hole he had previously created In the wall, Mingy stepped cautiously into the corridor and instructed Miss Song to remain inside the room for safety. The moment he stepped out of the room, a swarm of monsters lunged at him. Without hesitation, Mingy assumed a fighting stance and swiftly dispatched all the nearby cockroaches with a single, decisive punch. At the far end of the corridor, the cockroaches were stunned by the sight. Immobilized with shock, Mingy charged forward, his fists tearing through the cockroaches' bodies with relentless blows. As he struck down the last cockroach, Mingy suddenly heard Miss Song's piercing scream. Glancing back, he spotted a cockroach that had evaded his attack by crawling along the ceiling, now poised to assault Miss Song. Mingy's eyes caught a bottle of sulfuric acid resting on a nearby medical card. He dashed over, grabbed the bottle, and shattered it firmly in his hands. Instead of spilling downward, the corrosive liquid coalesced in his fists, glowing ominously. Miss Song, eyes shut, and one hand shielding her head, as if resigning to her fate, watched as Mingy struck the cockroach with what he called the acid punch. Tears streamed as Miss Song opened her eyes to witness the creature that threatened her dissolving before her. Mingy gazed at his hands, reflecting on the countless times he had mentally rehearsed this move. His fists now emitted an eerie green glow, signaling the power coursing through them. With awe in her voice, Miss Song asked if his extraordinary ability was linked to his punches. Mingy smiled modestly and replied that he was still a student who had failed last year's examination. Offering no further explanation, Miss Song snapped back, insisting the teachers must be blind, since his abilities pale in comparison to some of the pyro-ranked superhumans. His smile faded into a sorrowful grimace as a humiliating memory resurfaced the moment he was labeled as white dust during last year's evaluation. Mingy inquired about the strange fluid and the terrifying nature of the cockroaches. Miss Song explained that cockroaches are not only found in the city sewers. Ming. He nodded thoughtfully before asking if there was any additional sulfuric acid available, noting its usefulness along the mountain path where the underground sewers empty into the river. A bus crept across a bridge, barely aware of the massive shadow, with glaring, luminous eyes lurking just beneath the structure. As the bus advanced over the bridge, an explosion propelled chunks of concrete skyward, showering debris in all directions. Inside the bus, the driver and passengers screamed in terror, panic gripping them all. They watched in horror as a swarm of cockroach, like monsters, began to scale the bridge, closing in rapidly. Dr. Zhao, aboard the bus, frantically shouted into his phone, urgently requesting reinforcement. He reported that numerous mutant creatures had appeared at Nanchang Bridge, and superhuman intervention was imperative. A cockroach smashed through a window, poised to strike a woman seated nearby, when suddenly a deafening blast shattered the chaos. A man dressed in a cowboy outfit stood atop the bus roof, proudly displaying a badge that suggested he was a superhuman. In each hand, he gripped a rifle, both barrels still, emitting smoke, evidence of recent firing. The smoke hinted that he had just fired, successfully eliminating the cockroach, now slumped, lifeless, against the bus window. Introducing himself as a pyro-class superhuman, he offered reassurance to the frightened passengers inside the bus. He unleashed a relentless barrage from his rifles, shouting at the approaching monsters to die. Boldly he proclaimed that no matter how many foes arrived, his power of infinite ammunition ensured his victory. despite the relentless gunfire. A cockroach managed to evade the hail of bullets and lunged toward his foot, poised to bite. With agility, he sprung into the air, spinning gracefully to avoid the attack, continuing to fire. He landed back on the bus in a striking, composed pose that radiated confidence, kneeling with one knee on the bus roof. His expression suddenly shifted to alarm as his eyes widened beneath an imposing shadow looming above. Looking up, he confronted a colossal rat monster with gleaming, oversized eyes and razor-sharp claws. Raised in attack, the creature bared its snarling teeth and emitted a chilling screech as strands of saliva sprayed into the air. A powerful strike slammed into the bus, ripping a massive hole through its roof. Inside, the passengers' faces twisted in horror and disbelief. Through the jagged opening, they witnessed the monstrous rat gnawing on the superhuman's body as his badge fell inside. Amid the chaos, the terrified passengers broke into desperate cries for help nearby. Deep within a forest, not far from the hospital building, Miss Song and Ming, he crouched cautiously behind a tree. Miss Song asked Mingy if any of the monsters had been following them, and he reassured her that so far they were safe and no threats were in pursuit. Just as they prepared to move on, something suddenly caught Miss Song's eye. She spotted a bus, engulfed in flames, positioned precariously at the edge of the collapsed bridge. Miss Song told Mingy that was likely the last bus to depart from the hospital and that everyone on board must be in grave danger. At that moment, a handheld radio nearby buzzed, drawing Mingy's full attention. The voice over the radio urgently reported that a massive mutant rat had appeared near the Nanchung Bridge. It was confirmed that Pyro-ranked Twin Gun had lost all vital signs, and no superhumans were registered in the vicinity. Ming He grabbed the radio and requested detailed information about the giant rat. The responder explained the creature's vulnerability to fire and inquired whether Ming he himself was a superhuman. He answered, honestly, that he was a high school student who had failed to gain admission to the superhuman academy. The operator, on the other end, panicked, issuing a stern warning to Mingy not to be reckless. The giant rat was classified as a general rank monster, and all conventional knowledge about rats would prove useless against it. Despite the grave warnings, urging him to seek shelter immediately and preserve his life, Mingy ignored the advice. With determination, he began walking toward the bridge, leaving the handheld radio behind. With unwavering resolve, Mingy declared that after the staff cared for him throughout his year-long unconscious state, he could not simply stand idle now. The enormous, rat-like creature now tilted the bus dangerously toward the brink of the bridge. Inside, terrified passengers screamed as the monster's massive eyes appeared at the rear window of the bus, hidden within nearby bushes. Mingy and Miss Song watched intently as the rat toyed with its prey. As Mingy prepared to emerge from concealment, he instructed Miss Song to remain hidden. She urgently tried to dissuade him, warning that he could be killed if he went out there. Ming He responded with a smile, reasoning that caregivers don't simply watch when their patient is in peril. The staff wouldn't just stand idly by when someone's life is at risk. Without hesitation, he burst from the bushes and charged at the monstrous rat, convinced that victory requires action, not fear. As the bossy rat bit the bus's rear wing, he landed a powerful blow to its face, forcing it to release its grip and stumble back. While battling the giant rodent, he pondered how such creatures had grown to monstrous proportions. He knew that one solid hit could shatter his bones, rendering him helpless in the fight. The giant rat launched a fierce assault, demolishing roads and crushing cars. As debris scattered wildly, Mingy expertly evaded the onslaught, mindful that rats are incredibly nimble and determined never to let the creature touch him even once. He sprinted toward a cluster of abandoned vehicles on the road, planning to divert the giant rat's attention away from the bus. The enormous rat lunged to bite Mingy, but instead it clamped down on a parked car. Seizing the opportunity, Mingy delivered a fierce punch to the rat. The force of the blow was so intense that it unleashed a powerful gust, resembling a shock wave. Once the dust and debris settled, the colossal rat was lying, unconscious, on the shattered concrete road. Seeing the giant rat collapse Ming, he advanced, recklessly, swinging his arms wildly, preparing to deliver the final strike. Suddenly he halted, abruptly, a realization striking him. He knew cunning. Creatures like rats often feign death. Without warning, the giant rat snapped its eyes open and lunged at Ming. He who dodged just in time. As the beast bit through a car in half, Ming, he sprinted between vehicles, while the giant rat chased him relentlessly, smashed obstacles aside, and sending cars flying in all directions. Trapped and desperate Ming, he realized his punches lacked the power to defeat the monstrous rat. His eyes caught sight of an overturned car, leaking gasoline, sparking an idea. He dashed towards nearby cars, frantically opening their fuel tanks, luring the enraged rat to strike at the cars. He set up a fiery trap. This cat and mouse game dragged on until the giant rat grew visibly exhausted, panting and drooling. The beast glared fiercely at Mingy. From a safe distance, Mingy held a lighter, ready to ignite a decisive blaze. Meanwhile, Miss Song emerged from the bushes and hurried toward the bus to check on Dr. Lin Zhao and the others. Dr. Zhao felt a mix of surprise and relief when Miss Song managed to slip out of the hospital, as he questioned whether the superhuman who had rescued them was truly wearing a hospital uniform. A sudden, thunderous explosion interrupted him around the battlefield, where Mingy confronted the colossal rat. Nearby cars erupted in flames, exploding violently. The entire area ignited into a raging inferno, and the overwhelming fear became unmistakably clear on the giant rat's face. Minghee's fist hovered amidst the flames, absorbing the burning energy as it gathered intensity, summoning every ounce of his strength. He launched a powerful strike, driving his blazing fist into the giant rat, an attack he named the Blazing Punch. His fiery punch carved a scorching trail straight ahead, searing everything in its path. The staff erupted with cheers, overwhelmed with joy, as they witnessed the giant rat's defeat. They quickly realized their rescuer wore the hospital's uniform, and one staff member even identified him as the student who had been in a coma for an entire year. Miss Song then informed the staff that his name was Mingy. He was the student who had been rejected by the Superhuman Academy. Meanwhile, at the Superhuman Command Station, a blonde superhuman, speaking into a communication device worn around her neck, notified Luke Hyun that the general rank mutant monster had been successfully eliminated. Luke Hyun paused atop a tree branch, relief flooding her as she confirmed the civilians were safe. She was eager to discover who had slain the general rank mutant, so she could personally extend her gratitude. The blonde superhuman didn't recognize who the powerful figure rushing over was, but she was certain it wasn't the rude student She knew. She then asked Luke Hyun if he had identified the source of the pollution. After a brief silence, Luke Hyun warned that more mutant monsters were likely to appear in the near future. He emphasized that for now, their only option was to evacuate the entire population of Nanchong. Additionally, they had to isolate and seal off all the contaminated zones to prevent further spread. At the rescue station, beside the gate, a guard stood vigilant, overseeing the area. Miss Song was attending to the bruises on Mingy's hands, praising his bravery and saying that without his efforts, none of them would have survived. Mingy lowered his gaze, trying to conceal the blush rising across his face. A young woman with flowing black hair was causing a disturbance, attempting to enter the contaminated area, but the guard blocked her path. The guard assured her that everyone had already been evacuated, but she refused to listen, insisting that her younger brother was still inside, and she had to rescue him. Overcome with emotion, she pleaded with the guard, explaining that her brother was helpless, a teenage boy, trapped in the hospital, unconscious and unresponsive, as she sobbed, sharing the heart-wrenching story of her younger brother Ming. He, sitting just a step away from the commotion, cast an amused glance at her. The girl tearfully revealed that her brother's name was Ming He, struggling to hold back sobs as she confided in the guard her disbelief that someone so young could endure such a heartbreaking ordeal, especially since he had never even experienced holding a woman's hand, stealing herself. She gazed into the distance and vowed, with unwavering determination, that she would rescue him no matter the cost, pledging that if he were lost, she would follow him into death. Mingyi's jaw dropped as he stared at his sister, in stunned disbelief, a blush of embarrassment creeping across his face. Rising to his feet, Mingyi cast a sideways glance at his sister, silently processing her words. For a moment, his sister stood frozen, caught off guard, and speechless. Then, overcoming her shock, she leaped into Mingyi's arms, embracing him tightly, with unconditional relief. Overjoyed that Mingyi had regained consciousness, she released the anxiety she had felt throughout his ordeal. Walong Mingyi himself was taken aback by his sister's heartfelt reaction. As her sobs continued, Mingyi's expression shifted to one of sorrow as he reflected on the hardships his sister had endured during the past year. She had tirelessly cared for him, juggling multiple jobs to cover his mounting hospital expenses. He returned her embrace with gratitude and remorse, apologizing for frightening her and expressing deep appreciation for her unwavering dedication. Throughout the year later, inside an aging apartment building Ming, he awoke, freshly groomed with a neat haircut, no longer dressed in hospital attire or confined to a sterile room. As he remarked that it had been ages since he'd slept in his own home, his eyes fell upon a meal and a carefully penned letter from his sister, resting on the table beside his bed. The letter explained that his sister had returned to work because the medical bills remained unpaid, preventing her from staying with him constantly, and that he needed to rest at home to recover fully. Mingyi was shocked by how exorbitant the expenses for hospitalization and patient care had become over just 1 year. Even the cost for his haircut the previous day surprised him. He couldn't shake the guilt he felt, knowing his sister was juggling 3 jobs simultaneously. She was supporting him alone, and, distressingly, she appeared even more fatigued and pale than he did. Despite him being the one who was ill, determined, he resolved to find a way to earn money and improve his sister's quality of life. Lost in these thoughts, Mingyi's attention was suddenly captured as the television announced a reward for anyone who could provide information about the source of the polluted fluid. He immediately seized the remote and shouted, "This is it." In addition, rewards were being offered to those who eliminated the monsters terrorizing the region. He was stunned that the issue had yet to be solved, yet authorities were already offering substantial sums just for intelligence about the pollution's origin. He imagined not only clearing his outstanding medical debts, but also affording a brand new home. With any leftover funds, he fantasized about buying his sister an abundance of makeup and fashionable clothes. He then contemplated where the polluted fluid could be originating, concluding that his focus should shift to Nanchang Hospital rather than the broader Nanchang district. He must enter the building to investigate. Even if he uncovers no clues, he can still earn rewards by eliminating the mutated monsters. This approach not only rids the area of threats and protects the people, but also allows him to gain valuable combat experience. Shortly after, Mingy arrived at the bounty hall. A receptionist welcomed him and inquired whether he was there to post a bounty or register as a superhuman. Mingy identified himself as a superhuman. The receptionist then asked about his rank to assign a suitable bounty mission. Instead of answering directly, Mingy asked what rank was required to tackle mutated cockroaches for bounty rewards. The receptionist explained that few requirements existed. He only needed to demonstrate basic superpowers. Upon doing so, they would issue him an in turn superhuman badge. However, to earn official rank and achieve Starlight status, he would have to pass a far more rigorous examination process. Accepting these terms, he requested to be escorted to the training facility. Inside the training hall, many individuals were engaged in one-on-one combat drills against robotic opponents. The receptionist then asked Ming-He to describe the nature of his superpower. He told her that the punch was his. Then she led Ming-He over to one of the robots and explained that it would serve as a test device built to withstand powerful strikes. She reassured him that he could hit it with full force, and the robot would measure and display the strength of his punches. Ming-He focused intently on the screen mounted on the robot's face. The screen showed a range from 0 to 1,200, with a prominent number below, indicating 800 kilograms. He doubted whether his punches would be powerful enough to reach that 800-kilogram benchmark. Still, he resolved to give it everything he had, knowing his muscles were far from fully recovered. After being unconscious for an entire year, his expression hardened with determination as he faced the robot. Shifting into a focused punching stance, he unleashed a powerful punch against the robot, his fists igniting small clouds of smoke from the raw force. The sheer intensity of his strike startled everyone present in the room. Even the receptionist and all onlookers turned their attention sharply toward Ming-He. With a deafening clang, the robot's chest plate dislodged and crashed heavily to the floor. The display on the screen now registered a staggering 1,000 kilograms. Ming-He felt a twinge of disappointment, realizing the number just barely surpassed the required standard. The other contestants erupted in disbelief and shouted in protest, unable to accept Ming-He's modest words, given that he had shattered the test record. The receptionist clarified that the previous record of 800 kilograms was set by Iron Fist, who had recently debuted and was the first to hit that mark. Realizing his earlier misunderstanding of the numbers displayed on the screen, Minghella coyly scratched the back of his head. sheepishly, acknowledging his mistake. Inside the reception hall, the receptionist handed Ming He a 1,000 yuan shopping voucher as a small reward for breaking the record. She informed him that achieving additional records in future rank examinations would earn him even greater rewards. Curious, Mingy asked about the different ranks available. The receptionist explained they currently manage Starlight, Moonglow, Sunblaze, and Heaven Flare ranks, adding that if he held a higher rank, he'd have to visit a different location. Mingy pondered deeply, his eyes fixed on the shopping card he had just received. A smile crossed his face as he recalled rumors that reaching the Heaven Flare rank could allow someone to afford a villa and a luxury car. Though uncertain if the rumors were true, he resolved to concentrate on strengthening himself and earning the admiration of others. Later he arrived at the gathering place for the bounty and was surprised by the large crowd drawn to the event. He felt overwhelmed by the sheer number of superhumans gathered and wondered if they were waiting for additional team members to arrive. Liu Kai Qian, a Moonglow rank member, approached Ming He and asked if he was alone and interested in joining the Crimson Eagles. He returned the question, asking if everyone there was seeking to recruit more members for their groups. Liu Kai Qian confirmed that assembling more members was their sole purpose, since the expedition was perilous, and officials prohibit anyone below Sunblaze rank from going alone. He agreed to join on the condition that his rank be verified. He promptly asked to see the badge. He produced his badge without hesitation. Liu Kaiyan immediately recognized Mingy as a Starlight rank in turn and informed him that their team never accepted rookies. He warned that it would be a death wish for a Starlight intern to enter and advised Mingy to return and continue honing his skills, contemplating whether anyone would partner with him due to his low rank. Mingy caught the attention of Lin Yaoyu, a former classmate. She asked her teammates, who were also Mingy's former classmates, to verify if the person she spotted was truly him. After a quick glance, they confirmed it was indeed Mingy. Sujin smirked as he remarked on how the other team had rejected Mingy. Lin Yaoyu called out to Mingy, noticing it was Lin Yaoyu. He approached her. She inquired when he had been discharged and how she heard he had been in a coma. Mingy replied that it had been some time. Suddenly, Luxinghong asked why Mingy had come there. Mingy explained that he urgently needed to earn money to cover medical expenses, so he came to hunt the mutant monsters. Sojang jeered at Mingy's frail build and sarcastically warned him to focus on not becoming the mutants. Next meal, Lin Yaoyu advised Mingy to accompany them, since the mission was extremely perilous, cautioning that his lack of combat skills made it too risky to face alone. Sojang continued, mocking Mingy, claiming his only talent was luck, which was good solely for winning the lottery. Lin Yaoyu stopped Sojang, pointing out that Ming Hai was an old classmate and insisted they should support him through his difficulties. Lin Yaoyu invited Ming Hai to join their group, assuring him they would keep him safe. Ming Hai felt he had no choice, since the officials forbade him from going alone. Despite their continued disdain, he noted that these same officials had been at the Superhuman Institute for over a year. In his mind, Ming Hai reflected that while they must have grown much stronger in their eyes, he remained the unfortunate outcast who had been paralyzed for a year. Lu Xinghong joked they might as well treat Ming Hai as their lucky mascot, given his ability was luck. Wang Zhao agreed, suggesting they bring Ming Hai along, since they were former classmates, and Lin Yaoyu added that classmates should support one another. She explained to Minghai that the institute required every student to participate in at least one extracurricular activity and they were considering returning over the summer to assist with the pollution crisis. Minghai asked Lin Yaoyu about Lu Kai's whereabouts and why she wasn't accompanying the group. As Su Jing walked ahead, he glanced back and sneered at Minghai for still dwelling on Lu Kai, mocking him by saying she had become a celebrity at the institute and wouldn't associate with former classmates of such low status. Lin Yaoyu shared with Mingi that Lu Kai possesses extraordinary strength, making it impossible for them to catch up. She mentioned hearing that Lu Kai had returned to Lanyang City to aid local authorities in tracing the pollution source. Remembering Mingi's flawless humanity scores, she asked for his thoughts on what might be causing the contamination. As their group moved along, eerie glowing eyes suddenly appeared flickering within the street sewers. Su Jiang spoke up again, arguing that perfect academic scores mean little without any combat skills. This is why Mingi wasn't accepted into the institute. He then remarked that since their current mission involved chasing cockroaches, there was no way students like them were equipped to handle complex tasks, such as locating the pollution's origin. Reflecting further, he recalled a report detailing the emergence of 3 distinct types of mutant creatures. These included mutant cockroaches, mutant maggots, and sizable mutant rats. He observed that all these creatures are parasites inhabiting the sewer system and hypothesized that a contaminant, likely a liquid, had accidentally seeped into the sewers, transforming the area into a breeding ground for a vast array of mutated organisms. He assessed the threat level of the mutants, concluding that the large mutant rats posed the greatest danger, whereas cockroaches remained comparatively manageable. He speculated that mutant maggots will be less formidable than the mutant cockroaches, and therefore likely easier to confront. Lost in contemplation, he was suddenly startled as a massive, hand-like shape emerged before him. He soon understood that the mass was actually a swarm of mutated maggots. A surge of maggots emerged, engulfing cars and everything else in their path. Lin Yaoyu urgently shouted for everyone to run. Mingi realized he had overlooked a crucial fact. Maggots are subterranean parasites that operate and feed collectively in large groups. He desperately warned every person they encountered to flee, shouting that mutant maggots were closing in behind them. Sujin mocked Mingi's panic, insisting there was nothing to fear, reminding him that their purpose there was to confront mutants. But when he glimpsed the massive tide of mutant maggots advancing, he was struck with fear and broke into a sprint. Everyone scrambled towards the building, seeking refuge by its reinforced glass doors. Ming He urgently asked Wang Zhao for Lin Yiyu's whereabouts. Wang Zhao hesitated guiltily before admitting that Lin Yaoyu had tripped. Immediately, Mingi spun around, questioning Wang Zhao why she hadn't helped, and called upon the group to assist. Lin Yaoyu. The entire group was consumed by confusion and fear. Simultaneously, Mingi sprinted to Lin Yaoyu, who was shouting for him not to come, warning he would be killed. He reminded her that she had taught them all that classmates should support each other. Spotting a fire hydrant by her side, he quickly reached out and grabbed it. Water gushed forcefully from the fire hydrant. As the maggots closed in on him, he clenched his fists, causing the water to whirl fiercely. With a powerful, explosive punch, Mingi blasted the maggots away in a devastating wave. Although he couldn't eradicate the maggots completely, he successfully prevented them from taking control. He reached out to Lin Yaoyu, asking if she was all right, as he firmly supported her. Accepting his aid, she found herself admiring his strength and wondering if he was truly Ming. He resting her head against Ming, his shoulder. Lin Yaoyu suddenly realized just how handsome he was. She felt a pang of regret, knowing he was already interested in someone else. Grateful that Mingi hadn't abandoned her, she smiled with relief. Lin Yaoyu and Mingi entered the building together and found their teammates seated on the floor inside. The moment they noticed her, the group quickly rose and asked if Lin Yaoyu was okay. Xu Jiang explained that they had been preparing to rescue her, but Mingi had already beaten them to it. Unaware that she had tripped, he lamented, missing the chance to rescue a damsel in distress. Wang Zhao then inquired if the mutant maggots had retreated back to the sewer. He instructed them to treat Ling Yao's wounds immediately, warning that the mutant maggot secretion might be corrosive and require specialized ointment. Lin Yaoyu reassured them that she only suffered a minor bruise, which she believed wouldn't hinder her mobility. Relieved by her response, Ming He tasked the rest of the group with caring for her. He planned to inspect the building himself to block any mutant maggots from infiltrating further. Wang Zhao chastised Losing Hong for neglecting the building inspection and emphasized that, unlike the Ming, he, despite being rejected by the Superhuman Institute, remained vigilant. Both men burst into an uneasy forced laughter. Bing had carefully examined the detailed blueprint of the building. He then stepped inside the laboratory. The first thing that caught his attention was vivarium. Number 1, home to vibrant yellow butterflies. Continuing his tour, he moved through a series of different vivariums. Eventually, he arrived at vivarium number 9, where shattered glass revealed a mysterious substance leaking out. A nearby notice explained that the insect from the 9th vivarium had been reported missing since December 30th, 2030. The area was secured, and an investigation was underway. Relieved to know the vivarium's contents had been absent for over 6 months, he pondered whether the pollution might have triggered mutations in the domesticated insects, but quickly dismissed the notion, recalling mutants primarily arise from sewer environments. As he advanced, he inadvertently stepped on a fallen leaflet describing the species originally housed in vivarium number 9. The paper featured an image of a centipede, alongside a description, lion poo, pattern, centipedes, giant centipedes, native to southern Peru, renowned as the largest predatory centipedes globally, equipped with formidable jaws and extraordinarily long antennae. Ming, he verified that the rear door was securely locked. He reasoned that mutant maggots couldn't have entered, as there were no alternative exits, and the sewer access was completely sealed. Suddenly, he was startled to spot Dr. Zio standing just outside the building. He wondered why Dr. Zio would be wandering alone in such a remote area. He saw Dr. Zhao heading toward a dilapidated building and assumed that was where he lived. Concerned, he thought it was risky for Dr. Zhao to be alone, since he wasn't invincible. Suddenly, Mingi's phone rang, displaying an unknown number. He picked up the call and greeted the caller with a simple hello. The caller introduced herself as Nurse Song. She asked where he was and invited him to dinner, wanting to properly express her gratitude for saving her life. Nurse Song insisted Mingi shouldn't refuse and told him to call her Big Sis. Her surname is Song and her given name Lon, so he could address her as Sister Song or Sister Lon. Mingi informed Nurse Song that he was currently in a secluded location. Startled, Nurse Song urgently asked why he was there, explaining that the area was supposed to be completely off-limits due to the presence of numerous mutants beyond those they had already encountered. Mingi explained his motivation was to earn money and ease the financial burden on his sister. Nurse Song inquired whether they shared a biological connection. He replied that although they were not related by blood, they had grown up together in the same orphanage. Nurse Song realized that Mingi's bond with his sister was even deeper than familial ties. While chatting with Mingi, Nurse Song began undressing and taking a shower, thinking how wonderful it would be to have a little brother like Ming. He, so understanding and endearing. She told Ming that since he was busy working, they should postpone their meeting until another time. She felt disappointed, especially since she had taken the trouble to dress up just for him. Mingi informed Lan Song that he had seen Dr. Zhao wandering alone in a restricted area, which was highly dangerous. She exclaimed, asking Mingi if he was certain it was Dr. Zhao, and questioned why he would be in such a place. He explained that Dr. Zhao hadn't noticed him and suggested the window might be frosted from the outside, preventing visibility. After finishing her shower and getting dressed, she confided in Mingi that Dr. Zhao had been behaving unusually for the past year. Once a diligent worker, he now left early and occasionally made errors during surgeries. She further elaborated that Dr. Zhao appeared lethargic, as if he hadn't slept at all. Around that time, the headquarters had sent a sample of calamity beast blood for purification, but unfortunately, he lost it. Hearing about the calamity beast blood shocked Mingi. He recalled his previous lessons, where the teacher explained that when the blood of special calamity beasts leaves the body and contacts oxygen, it causes the air around it to mutate. Knowing that some calamity beast blood can incubate for up to a year, he wondered if this explained the mutations. He asked when Dr. Zhao had lost the blood sample. She replied that the blood was lost about a year ago. Suddenly, recalling that it coincided with the day Mingi first arrived at the hospital, he explained to her that the blood of the calamity beast was likely the source of the pollution, nodding that the timeline perfectly aligns with the mutations. Incubation period Ming. He felt a surge of confidence in his theories, convinced that Dr. Zhao had deceived them. Lan Song now understood why Dr. Zhao had ventured into the isolated zone himself. She believed he recognized his errors and was returning to retrieve the blood. He suspected that Dr. Zhao was afraid of being held responsible for the consequences. He warned Lan Song about the danger, emphasizing that Dr. Zhao was not superhuman, and speculated that highly mutated creatures likely lurked near the pollution's epicenter. He urged her to report the incident to the authorities immediately so they could investigate the collapsed building, believing Dr. Zhao underestimated the risk and wanting to intervene before it was too late. She consented to a strategy without hesitation. He reassured her that his mission was solely to stop Dr. Zhao and that he would not venture into the heart of the contamination. Returning to his teammates, he notified them that the building was secure, with all entrances sealed. Maggots from entering. He told them they could rest there while he attended to an urgent matter and promised to return soon. Before heading outside, immediately, she asked Mingi where he was heading and cautioned him about the dangers of going out alone. However, the door had already been shut. Outside, Mingi observed motionless maggots scattered across the street and began to formulate a theory. The mutated maggots would remain inactive and powerless for the foreseeable future. He He took a shortcut to intercept Dr. Zio immediately, but was ambushed by 3 cockroaches in the alley. He fought fiercely, quickly, overcoming the cockroaches before pressing onward without hesitation. Upon spotting Dr. Zhao about to enter the building, he chose to conceal himself and observe his actions closely. And when Dr. Zhao stepped inside the building, Mingyi followed silently behind him. Inside, he was startled to discover a massive hole in the floor with no sign of Dr. Zhao. He noticed a ladder descending into the depths of the hole. He deduced that Dr. Zhao must have climbed down. Without hesitation, he leaped into the hole, pondering Dr. Zhao's true intentions. Suspecting the situation was more complex than it appeared, he landed in a chamber, surrounded by pipes, lining the walls. Then he spotted Dr. Zhao entering the area, housing the Lanyang water supply tank. The tank featured an attached ladder, which Dr. Zhao began ascending. He revealed himself and confronted Dr. Zhao, demanding to know what he was doing. Dr. Zhao was taken aback by Ming's sudden appearance. Mingyi questioned Dr. Zhao about whether he had truly purified the calamity beast's blood from a year prior. Surprising Dr. Zhao, with his knowledge of the incident, Mingyi demanded a clear explanation from Dr. Zhao. Dr. Zhao began to tremble, confessing he had made a serious mistake. He insisted he had no intention of hiding the truth and claimed his actions were unintentional. He descended the ladder and approached Mingyi, asserting that, as a physician, his core mission was to save lives. He was unaware that his carelessness would trigger mutations in organisms. He had only come to investigate possible water contamination due to the nearby blood spill. He stressed his sincere desire to rectify the situation. Mingyi reminded Dr. Zhao that he was not invincible and should have reported the incident to the authorities. Instead, Dr. Zhao fell to his knees, pleading with Mingyi for help, asserting that he was indeed superhuman. He recalled witnessing Mingyi's extraordinary strength during the hospital attack. He explained that exposure to the authorities could land him in prison. He feared that if that happened, no one would be there to support his family. Mingyi urged Dr. Zhao to remain calm, cautioning that his powers had limits and that pursuing this path would be tantamount to courting death. Despite the risk of allowing the mutation to escalate, Dr. Zhao ultimately consented. Mingyi extended a hand and proposed that they report the incident to the authorities and let them take control of the situation. Dr. Zhao felt relieved by Mingyi's suggestion and inquired whether he had kept this matter confidential. So far, Mingyi confirmed his secrecy and advised Dr. Zhao that it would be best for him to personally explain everything to the officials. He then asked if Dr. Zhao truly lost blood in that area, and if it was indeed the pollution source. Dr. Zhao affirmed this but confessed that he hadn't actually lost blood, adding that he was just a student. He admitted that there were many aspects beyond his understanding. Mingyi silently suspected that there was something suspicious about Dr. Zhao. However, he feels trapped because he doesn't know what bizarre actions Dr. Zhao might take there. He confessed to Dr. Zhao that he was having trouble understanding his explanation. Dr. Zhao then began to elaborate further. He described how cockroaches, maggots, and rats thrive in the city's dark corners, spreading germs and diseases that drive people to want to eradicate them completely. Mingyi nodded in agreement, though he remained curious about the true meaning behind Dr. Zhao's words. Dr. Zhao challenged him to consider humanity's reckless reproduction, rampant exploitation, and relentless generation of industrial and chemical pollution, emphasizing how humans have incessantly harmed the Earth's environment. He pointed out that waste is now being launched into outer space, illustrating that human behavior is strikingly similar to that of cockroaches, maggots, and rats. Ming-He concurred that environmental protection is essential. Dr. Zhao asserted that on a cosmic scale, the very existence of life is flawed. Life itself arguably should not exist. He described a lifeless universe as magnificent and tranquil. But once life emerged, it acted like an infection, invading a healthy body. Humans, he claimed, are the ultimate germs, akin to cancer cells, which are known for their relentless and uncontrollable reproduction. Like cancer, humans multiply with each generation, continually ravaging and destroying the world around them. Without pause, humans aspire to venture beyond Earth and dominate the solar system, yearning even to claim the Milky Way. Yet wherever humanity sets foot, true beauty and peace remain absent. After delivering his sermon, Dr. Zhao inquired whether he perceived any fundamental difference between cancer cells and humans. He responded that as merely a student, he struggled to comprehend Dr. Zhao's words, especially since they seemed to oppose human nature. Dr. Zhao elaborated, explaining that when the body falls ill, the immune system actively works to eliminate the invading pathogens. He believes the universe itself is afflicted and anticipates that it will generate mechanisms specifically designed to eradicate humans. He suspects that calamities are part of this process. These creatures, disasters, and catastrophes are manifestations of the universe's immune response, aimed at completely wiping out the human species. He found Dr. Zhao's behavior bizarre and seemingly unhinged, telling him that his claims were far beyond the topic under discussion. He reminded him that their conversation centered on how pollution resulting from Zhao's own error triggered mutations and caused widespread fatalities. At that moment, Dr. Zhao removed his glasses deliberately. He declared that as a doctor, his role is to treat the sick, and by that logic, the universe, too, requires treatment. He boldly proclaimed himself the physician of the universe. He vowed to assist the universe in eradicating humans who have multiplied and spread recklessly like malignant cancer cells, adding that cockroaches, rats, and maggots were far less despicable. Afterward, he fell utterly silent. Dr. Zhao confessed that the pollution outbreak, which began as a simple experiment, originated from him. His plan was to target and eliminate the population in Lanyang City first, before expanding his destructive intentions to other major metropolitan areas. He believed firmly that the earth needed cleansing and that humanity itself must be eradicated to achieve that goal. When it came to handling he cynically expressed gratitude for He's ignorance and naivety, seeing it as a weakness to exploit. Dr. Zhao was pleased, confident that he would soon be able to extend his plan to contaminate the entire city. Ming-He informed Dr. Zhao that the southern suburb had been quarantined and placed under lockdown to prevent the mutation agent from spreading further. Dr. Zhao chuckled and asked Ming-He whether they had considered shutting off the city's water supply pipes, since all of the city's water flows through that point. Through the water supply network, the mutation agent could infiltrate and contaminate every corner of Lanyang City. The city depends on tap water for washing, groceries, taking showers, and cleaning the streets. All activities that require access to that water source. All the water used for these purposes eventually drains into the city sewage system. This cycle would cause maggots, cockroaches, and rats thriving in the city sewage to undergo mutations. He viewed Dr. Zhao's actions as monstrous and decided to leave, confident that since Dr. Zhao was not superhuman, he would not be able to physically restrain him. He told Dr. Zio that he couldn't comprehend his twisted logic, then instructed him to proceed with whatever he was doing before declaring his intention to depart. Dr. Zhao was stunned by Mingyi's decision not to intervene and stop his plan. He had assumed that Mingyi's role in saving patients at the hospital was driven by justice and a heroic desire to protect the city. As he walked away, Mingyi called out that he's the kind who fears for his own life, just a worthless failure who couldn't get into the superhuman institute and has no right to be called a hero. Dr. Zhao praised Mingyi for his wisdom in not interfering, then revealed that all he needed was to pour the blood into the tank to complete his plan. By the time the authorities arrived, it would already be too late. Just as Dr. Zhao reached into his lab coat pocket to retrieve the blood, he suddenly realized it was missing. He recalled that Mingyi had touched his chest during their conversation. Consumed by fury, Dr. Zhao underwent a terrifying transformation. He angrily demanded that Mingyi return the stolen blood. Immediately, Mingyi wondered if the doctor's sudden transformation was triggered by his own unique ability, but he quickly realized that Dr. Zhao had altered his own body as part of the mutation experiment. Mingyi noticed a strange bulge forming beneath the doctor's right shoulder. Without hesitation, Dr. Zhao grabbed the mass, tore it free from his shoulder, and hurled it toward Mingyi. The detached lump immediately morphed into four small, four-legged creatures. Each beast sported razor-sharp legs, with one front limb shaped like a blade. Just as he was about to grab the ladder, something happened. One of the creatures swiftly sliced through the ladder, severing his escape route. Immediately, all four beasts encircled him, cutting off any chance of retreat. As they lunged at him, he cleverly stepped on them, using their bodies as leverage to climb out of the hole. Upon landing beside the opening, he noticed the broken concrete and quickly employed his mystic punch, extracting an element to seal the hole shut. As the beast lunged to leap through the opening, it was abruptly stopped, crashing head first against the unforgiving concrete. Dr. Zhao could sense the calamity. Beast's blood coursing through his veins, a powerful indicator of their terrifying connection. He was convinced that Mingyi stood no chance of escaping his pursuit. Mingyi dashed swiftly through a narrow alley, heart-pounding, reflecting on how formidable a giant mutant rat could be. He reasoned that a mutated, grown man would be exponentially more dangerous. He doubted he had the strength to confront the mutated Dr. Zio directly, avoiding his group's path. He knew that with their current capabilities, they would be slaughtered if mutated Dr. Zio caught up to them. By the time until the authorities arrived to reclaim the calamity beast's blood, he placed his hope in Nurse Song. A maggot twitched just as Moon, glow-ranked Huang Feng stepped down, declaring their extermination task complete. The west of the abandoned building, Moon, glow-ranked Zhao Ran sat astride a mutated cockroach's decapitated body, pressing down on its severed head with a knife, announcing that extermination had been accomplished in their sector as well. Moon, glow-ranked Leo Zhao Jiong proposed a retreat nodding that he had just depleted his magical energy. Liu Kai summoned back his puppets, pleased to have secured a generous bounty for their efforts. Their healer inquired if any more powerful monsters remained, when suddenly the metal platform beneath him began to glow. With a sudden force, the glowing metal plate was flung away, hurling the healer along with it. Reacting swiftly, Zhao ran, sprang into action, rescuing the healer from harm. The mutated Dr. Zhao emerged suddenly from the hole. Huang Fong assumed the newcomer was the healer named Linder. Liao Zhao Jiong urged swift elimination of the mutated Dr. Zhao before seeking a safe place to rest. Upon spotting a massive monster, Liu Kai eagerly calculated they could earn 100,000 by defeating it. He even worked out each person's share, thinking this task far easier than battling maggots. Huang Fong called Dr. Zhao a repulsive monster and told him he was unfortunate to face a group of Moonglow ranked superhumans. Dr. Zhao muttered under his breath that the only cure was to eradicate them all. Without hesitation, he seized Huang Fong with his right hand, using his enhanced speed. Huang Fong stepped back to dodge and taunted Dr. Zhao for being slow. Just as Dr. Zhao's arm shot out, a cold sweat broke out across Huang Feng's face. Mutated Dr. Zhao gripped Huang Feng's neck and hoisted him off the ground. He raised his left arm as spikes sprouted, piercing Huang Feng painfully. Mutated Dr. Zhao counted quietly. One Zhao ran exploded with fury. She swung fiercely at mutated Dr. Zhao, demanding he release Huang Feng. Immediately, observing his wounds closing, she attacked relentlessly again, shouting insults, calling him an ugly, vile monster. As Zhao ran closed in on mutated Dr. Zhao, mutated Dr. Zio countered swiftly, slashing her chest with his left hand. Zio ran, lay motionless on the floor, as mutated Dr. Zio flung Huang Fei's body beside hers and counted to 2, turning to the remaining members. Mutated Dr. Zio cruelly asked if they were pleased that their teammates had died, since now they could claim the fallen's share of the reward. The rest of the group looked horrified, beads of sweat pouring down their faces as fear gripped them. Mutated Dr. Zio smirked, licking his lips with a sinister anticipation from the opening in mutated Dr. Zio's body. For grotesque, mutated beasts emerged, their forms both unsettling and threatening. Mutated Dr. Zhao expressed regret, saying that if he weren't pressed for time, he would have loved to savor the moment longer and toy with them. One of the small beasts caught a scent on the air and instantly darted off in a determined direction. Mutated Dr. Zhao eagerly trailed the 4 smaller, mutated beasts, fueled by excitement at the thought of locating Minghe and tearing him apart. Accompanied by the 4 mutated beasts, mutated Dr. Zhao broke into a furious sprint toward Minghe's location, thrilled at the prospect of ripping him to shreds. At the same time, Liao Zhao Yung clutched Zhao Rant's lifeless body, both trembling and sobbing uncontrollably. The harrowing encounter had left them deeply shaken. After witnessing the monstrous Liu Kai, and he asked Liao Zai Yung about the creature's identity. Drawing upon his knowledge, Liao Zai Yung deduced it was likely a Lord rank monster. Both felt an overwhelming sense of relief and gratitude to have survived such a terrifying ordeal while fleeing down the streets. Minghe suddenly realized that 4 mutated beasts were still in pursuit, despite his earlier certainty that he'd lost them. The beasts skillfully navigated the labyrinth of alleys, leading Ming-He to suspect they were tracking him by his scent. Relieved that mutated Dr. Zhao couldn't keep up with the beasts, Ming-He labeled the 4 creatures that had separated from Zhao as lymphoma beasts. Ming-He resolved to stop mutated Dr. Zhao from obtaining his blood at all costs. As he darted through the streets, Ming-He spotted an abandoned gas station nearby. He doused himself in gasoline to partially conceal his scent, hoping this distraction would buy him crucial time to escape until help arrived. Upon entering the convenience store attached to the gas station, he noticed 3 of the beasts bypassed the station, but the 4th was heading straight toward him. He watched intently as the 4th beast stepped inside the grocery store. Concealed behind a rack of potato chips, Ming-He prepared to strike. As the beast approached, suddenly, to his surprise, the footsteps abruptly ceased. Turning slowly, Ming-He caught sight of his reflection in the mirror, alongside the 4th beast, poised to attack. With swift reflexes, Ming-He dodged the looming assault. In his evasive move, he caused the potato chip rack to topple and crash onto the beast. He sprinted toward the door, but hesitated, realizing the 4th beast likely possessed an acute sense of smell that would enable it to track him down again with ease. Aware that the 4th beast was isolated from the other 3, Ming-He resolved to seize the opportunity and confront it instead of perpetually fleeing. Despite efforts to trap it, the 4th beast broke free from the confines of the potato chip rack to unleash his special punch. Spiritual skill. Ming-He's fist had to strike a medium, sharing the same elemental attribute. He observed that the market lacked suitable mediums, and venturing outdoors posed the risk of being spotted by the other beasts. Unable to locate an appropriate medium, the 4th beast lunged at Ming-He, slashing with its razor-sharp claws. Ming-He chose to engage the 4th beast directly, relying on his physical prowess to fight back. He skillfully dodged the beast's swipe and struck its abdomen with a powerful left-handed punch. The force of the blow sent the beast tumbling into a nearby sack of flour. The flour sack ruptured, blanketing the area in a dense cloud and severely limiting Ming-He's line of sight. Seizing the moment, the 4th beast pounced on Ming-He in an aggressive counterattack. Caught off guard, Ming-He found the beast's grip tightening around his shoulders. With one foot pressing down on his right arm, he was forced backward, collapsing beneath the weight of the beast. As the beast aimed to bite his head, he dodged just in time, causing the creature to falter and slightly loosen its hold on his shoulders. With lightning speed, Ming-He struck the beast's jaws with his right fist and followed up with a rapid series of punches to keep it off balance. Once Ming-He was confident the beast could no longer evade his attacks, he unleashed a devastating punch. The impact of the strike left a distinct mark on the market's outer wall. Without looking back, he turned and calmly walked away from the scene. A gaping hole torn in the market's wall revealed the beast's decapitated body, slumped against it. Meanwhile, in the nearby street, dark blood-tinged fluid spurted from Dr. Zhao's shoulder wounds. Seething with rage, Dr. Zhao cursed Ming-He as he made his way toward the gasoline station. He entered the supermarket, where the lifeless beast lay sprawled on the floor. Determined to confront Ming-He, Dr. Zhao decided the 3 surviving beasts had to evolve further. He ordered the creatures to devour the fallen beast. As they fed, the beasts grew larger and developed razor-sharp bone spikes along their spines. Now armed with heightened enhanced senses, the beasts had become more lethal than ever. Dr. Zhao commanded them to capture Ming-He, alive and without hesitation. The beasts surged off in a determined direction. Ming-He dashed through the streets until he spotted the three beasts barreling toward him. Bewildered, he wondered how they had tracked him down, despite the death of the one with the keen sense of smell. The beasts barked fiercely, leaping nimbly over parked cars. In pursuit, Ming. He noticed a shift in their barking. It grew more ominous and threatening with each cry. Ahead, Ming. He caught sight of an amusement park looming in the distance. He was convinced the site was perfect, packed with complex machinery he could harness. When the beasts finally caught up to him, Mingy was confident he would grow stronger as long as he possessed a unique medium to channel his power to prevent igniting himself while delivering the blazing punch. He decided to wash away the gasoline first. Despite the beast's ability to track him relentlessly, Mingy believed maintaining momentum was safer than hiding. Mingy devised a strategy to widen the distance between himself and the beasts, eliminating as many as possible. Fully aware he was no match for Dr. Zio. As dusk settled, Mingy made his way through the deserted amusement park. The sound of footsteps atop the rooftop drew his attention, prompting him to turn and face the evolved beast. He was stunned by the creature's remarkable growth and transformation. The beast hurled itself off the building, wielding an axe firmly in its left hand. It slammed the blade forcefully into the ground. Mingy dodged just in time, but immediately noticed the beast's enhanced strength. The beast launched another assault, this time leaping toward him with the axe gripped in its right hand. Despite the beast's fierce and unyielding attacks, he skillfully evaded every strike. He retreated cautiously, observing that the beast's speed was beginning to wane. Seizing the opportunity, he resolved to stand his ground and fight back against the beast. Without warning, two more beasts emerged, flanking Mingy from both sides. To escape, Mingy sprinted toward the roller coaster tracks. He intended to confront the beasts one at a time, exploiting the narrow tracks to his advantage. Climbing the track, he channeled mystic punch, elemental energy, into his fists, preparing for the fight ahead. The moment he reached the summit, a ferocious beast lunged at him with lethal intent. Reacting instantly, he slammed his metallic fists together, nullifying the assault and unleashing a powerful shockwave. Using his left hand to unbalance the creature, he drove a devastating punch through its chest with his right. The impact sent the beast tumbling off the narrow path. His mystic punch, enhanced by absorbing metal, could pierce even evolved beasts. Creatures ranked as formidable as warlords. Buoyed by confidence, he faced each evolved beast head-on, one after another. Advancing steadily, he noted the lead beast charging forward, while another attempted to flank him by crawling along the track's lower edge. The foremost beast launched an assault with razor-sharp, X-like claws. He parried skillfully with his right arm, leaving the beast's chest vulnerable. Seizing the opening, he swung his left arm and delivered a forceful punch to its chest. Yet before his blow landed, bony armor, resembling a ribcage, sprouted from its chest. Though the beast was sent flying, Mingy's punch failed to penetrate the protective bone plating. He was taken aback by the astonishing speed at which these beasts adapted and evolved. As the beast below snapped its jaws to bite, he deftly dodged with swift footwork. Immediately, he countered with a powerful kick aimed at the creature's neck. The beast grinned menacingly as sharp bone needles protruded from its neck. In response, he couldn't help but think the beast's anatomy was utterly absurd. The first beast began to climb toward the upper side of the track, while the one previously thrown away had already regained its footing and positioned itself behind him, effective, surrounding him between the two beasts. Without hesitation, both beasts lunged at Mingi. Simultaneously, he skillfully blocked, punched, and narrowly dodged their relentless attacks. When the beast, in front, closed in too much Ming, he seized the moment to deliver a sharp right fist to its jaw. At the same time, he struck the beast behind him with a powerful left elbow, knocking it unconscious. Meanwhile, the front beast remained conscious and immediately resumed its assault Ming. He counterattacked fiercely, delivering a relentless barrage of punches. As their battle raged on, he steadily pushed the beast backward until after the other was incapacitated Ming, he unleashed a powerful left hook. The beast crossed its arms to block the blow, then smoothly slid downward to evade the follow-up strike. After absorbing the punch, the beast smirked at Mingi, mocking him for his perceived lack of strength. Unfazed by the beast's division, Mingi remained focused and undeterred. As the beast advanced toward him, the roller coaster vehicle suddenly jolted forward. Caught off guard by the sudden movement, the beast failed to react and was struck down by the speeding vehicle. Mingi clung to a bar, positioned between the tracks, as a roller coaster sped past, just behind him. Before facing the evolved beasts, Mingi had made his way to the control room. After confirming the electricity remained active, he resolved to harness the roller coaster ride to eradicate the remaining beasts. As Mingi clung to the bar, he glanced down and quickly realized that a fall from his height would result in either broken legs or instant death. The unconscious beast revived and now dangled from a bar located between the rails, close to where Mingi was positioned, using its tail to grip the bar. The beast launched an assault on Mingi with its twin, axe-like claws. Forced to release his hold on the bar, he immediately raised his arms to defend himself against the beast's attack. Seizing the moment, Mingi grabbed hold of the beast's axe-like claws with both hands. He realized that since the beasts functioned as parasites, feeding off Dr. Zio, eliminating a beast would cause Dr. Zio to lose a portion of himself. As he descended Ming, he tugged the beast along, mistaking its hold on the bar for a final triumph in trying to kill him. The beast released its grip. However, he pulled the beast beneath him and brought his foot down firmly on it. Mingi intended to use the beast's body as a shock absorber to soften the impact of his landing. The beast emitted agonized wails and cries, realizing it was about to meet its inevitable demise. Then with a brutal force, it was crushed against the ground. As dust billowed, Mingi emerged from the smoky haze, unscathed. Brushing off his shirt, he mused that the beast had only received the punishment it deserved for its arrogance. When the sky had darkened, signaling the arrival of night, Mingi made his way to the nearest faucet. During the call, Nurse Song inquired why Mingi hadn't answered any of her calls, and if he was all right. He explained to Nurse Song that his phone had been set to mute. Nurse Song reported that the authorities have reached the building he specified and have secured full control over the area. She also updated him that the officials are actively eliminating the monsters found inside, but have not encountered either him or Dr. Zhao Ming. He revealed everything to her, including Dr. Zhao's orchestration of the entire pollution incident and his current location at the amusement park. He further explained Dr. Zhao's sinister scheme to pour the contaminated blood serum into the city's water supply, aiming to devastate Lianyungang city's sewage system entirely. Nurse Song was horrified to learn of such a heinous plan. Mingi informed Nurse Song that he managed to seize the blood serum from Dr. Zhao and suspects is responsible for the mutation. Nurse Song explained to Mingy that after experts extract antibodies from the blood serum, both the antibodies and the mutation source remain present within the organism's serum. She assured Mingy that with the serum he possesses, the polluted southern suburb could gradually be restored to its original state, emphasizing the serum's critical importance. Nurse Song instructed Mingy to stay put, promising to coordinate with the officials to dispatch a team to the amusement park for his pickup. However, Mingy disagreed, directing Nurse Song to have the officials meet him at the southern tower. Instead, since Dr. Zhao is still pursuing him and he cannot risk remaining stationary, he instructed Nurse Song to urgently inform the authorities that Dr. Zhao had undergone a dangerous mutation and that expert intervention was critical. Otherwise, Dr. Zhao would mercilessly eliminate everyone. Once Nurse Song consented, Mingy immediately took off running. Upon reaching the southern tower Ming, he found Dr. Zhao already there, awaiting his arrival. With anticipation, Dr. Zhao transformed back into his human form